An exhausting night of nesting has finally come to an end for this leatherback turtle, and now it is time for her to return to her home in the sea. Over millions of years, turtles such as this one have been coming to beaches to complete the same nesting process. Yet in the past 30 years, mankind has managed to threaten this species to the brink of extinction. If we do not act now, the leatherback turtle may disappear forever.
Endangered means that it's really running a risk of not being able to continue. Critically endangered means that the risk is that much greater.
They're critically endangered. It's gone a little step further than that.
The leatherback turtles, they're one of the most ancient turtles in terms of their shape, their size, everything about them. They're not a hard-shell species. That's what makes them unique.
They're the largest turtles in the world. On average, a female can be about 6 to 7 feet long. They can weigh about 1,500 pounds.
In the wide ocean, a leatherback turtle is something that, it stands out to every other thing in the sea.
They're the most migratory of all sea turtles.
The main local threat has been poaching. Just as you hear stories about the numbers of turtles, you often also hear stories about the way people would go down to the beach on evenings to get a turtle, usually in large groups.
People are poaching for different reasons. Somebody may be poaching meat because that's the only thing that they have to eat. Some people may be poaching meat to sell so that they can support their family.
But people make the whole point about the cultural tradition of eating turtle meat. The thing to remember is that in no traditional hunting culture are the animals hunted when they're pregnant and in going through their whole reproductive process.
Also the eggs, they get poached heavily as well because they're quite valuable. So that's probably the main reason, humans are the main reason that they've become so endangered.
I'm from one of the small islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It was very common to see fishermen going around house to house with the turtle eggs in buckets. We'll have them for breakfast. And we just put them in a pot and boil them for a while, just like normal boiled egg. We punch a hole in it and sprinkle some salt in it and just suck it out of the shell.
The one hatchling from every mother turtle will survive to adulthood. If you think that every female turtle lays about 8 nests or so during the season, and each nest is about 100 eggs. So she's replacing herself each season if she's lucky.
Hatchlings can have a lot of predators as soon as they come out the nest, because many of their predators smell them even before they come out the nest, just due to their hatching and stuff like that. They have like dogs. There's a white crab that also feed on these turtles.
Although they live in the water, they breathe air, so getting captured accidentally in fishing gear and fishing lines is a real threat. And in Trinidad in particular, where they have quite a large commercial fishing fleet in operation near their shores, the number of turtles that are killed every year in the fishing industry, it's really quite tremendous.
One net doesn't only catch one turtle. Sometimes we've had as many as 15 turtles being caught, and these nets are miles long. Small inland seas like the Mediterranean, we have boat strikes. And people don't think about turtles getting hit by boats and being killed. People don't think about that. But I have reports of one of our turtles that are tagged all the way here in Trinidad, killed in a boat strike in the Mediterranean. And I mean, look at the distance she had to travel, the journey she had to make to go back and get run over by a boat in the Mediterranean. But everything is connected in this natural world. Something feeds on something else. You take out some animal out of the equation, something else is going to happen.
The leatherback play a critical role in keeping the jellyfish population in check. When you consider the volume that they can consume in a day, if the jellyfish population was to blossom out of control, it would have a marked effect on our commercial fish stocks.
So it's kind of an interesting paradox where the nets of the fisherman will catch the turtles, and the same turtles that are required for helping them to sustain their fish population.
Coastal community is very key to your resources. You've got to take them into consideration. You can't just sort of put legislation in place that says, no use of this particular net because it's going to trap turtles. We have to work out in a participatory kind of way how best we can achieve the conservation efforts at the same time allowing people to continue their livelihood efforts.
So the community has a tremendous level of control. We have about 90% of our visitors are locals and 10% are foreigners. That says a lot for the willingness of the population to participate in our activities.
Official mission is to conserve Tobago's turtles and their marine and coastal habitat through community-based initiatives in education, research and ecotourism. We can do nothing else in a season. We make sure we have the beaches covered.
Head patrollers are minimum in numbers. There are people they'll return, they'll come back, so they are even possible of tagging the turtles if a head patroller is not there.
And we usually do patrols every 25 minutes. Once it's started to lay, we'll go in, check if it's tagged. If it's not tagged, then we'll have to tag it. The 2 rear flippers on the insides, and we'll scan for a pit tag, which is in the shoulder, and if it doesn't have that, then we'll have to put one in. We'll also take measurements of the length and the width of the leatherback.
On one of my patrols to Back Bay, I come across 6 guys. They already took 2 flippers off the turtle, and they was just about to take the head off. And when I get there, they hit me a piece of wood, and so I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Before SOS started, particularly on our main nesting beach, which is Turtle Beach, you would see carcasses of sea turtles that were poached illegally. And now that we are on the beaches doing our patrols, that incidence has been reduced to almost 0.
I say the most rewarding thing is to know that me being there is helping the turtle be preserved.
The most rewarding thing is probably when you start digging down and you just feel a wee head moving, and if it wasn't for you, then that turtle would have been stuck. Maybe that was one of those turtles, is the 1 in 1,000 that makes it.
I would say come and take one of our tours. People who have never had this experience have changed their perception of turtles and changed their perception of a good experience.
What we would like to tell people is that, this is a renewable resource. Alive, it is definitely worth more than it is dead.
This one goes out to all the people in the struggle. You got to keep the faith in Jesus Christ. And give him all the praise, yeah. Yana. I'll never let go. I'll never let go. God will never let me down. He's the driver of my vehicle. I'll never let go. I'll never let go. God will never let me down. He's the father for the people. Come along and let's labor in the vineyard. Come, let's labor in the vineyard. Come, let us cultivate the fruits of our hearts. Because no man can declare me without Jah. He is my God and my protector. That's why me